Parasyte, a show I've been meaning to watch for the last 5 years. Nah, seriously, I mean it. I was certain I would like it, but I just never got around to watching it till recently. Finally got my hands on the Blu-rays and my hypothesis was correct. Very enjoyable series. I wonder why I like this so much. Oh, this is based on a manga that ran from 1988 to 95. So in other words, it was written by a golden era mangaka. There we go. Now it makes sense. Hitoshi Iwaki did a good job with this story. A combination of the horror, thriller, science fiction, and drama genres that provide an experience the viewer can't help but be satisfied with each episode that builds onto the plot. At first. But what exactly is the plot? Shinichi is a teenager who's clearly your average dude. He's not extremely popular, but I wouldn't necessarily call him a loser either. He just sorta exists. One day, his life would change for the worse when a strange insect-looking creature lodges itself inside his body, initially trying to take over his brain, but when that plan failed, ended up taking over his right arm. Lucky is he, because he isn't the only one to have his body taken over by one of these parasitic creatures. However, his happens to be on his side and not have evil motives. It took a while to break down exactly what the destination of this story is, because for up to at least half the series, there were many various parasite altercations that many took place with the host losing their lives, but there wasn't necessarily any task at hand to be fulfilled. Actually, let me come clean. The way I saw it, this show really didn't have a traditional plot. Just when you thought you figured out who the main antagonist is and the direction of the story, the parasite is killed and it moves in a different direction. Actually, the last 8 episodes or so are just a giant blur. It fell the hell off and you go from staring at your screen fully attentive to ending up multitasking on your phone or simply getting lost in thought. So going back to what I said at the beginning about the mangaka doing a good job writing this story, this is where I tend to have my little bit of bias towards older anime or older stories, because I have a feeling that if this was done 20 years ago, it might have would have been done in a way that's easier to process and more organized overall. So this tells me that if they didn't wait till over 25 years to adapt the source material and this was a 90s anime, it probably would have ended up being episodic, like an episodic mystery horror series like Devilman Lady. And even though a lot of people don't really like shows like this, at least you know what the hell you're watching it for. If you read the manga for this, talk to me in the comments and tell me how faithful this adaptation was, because I could be totally wrong with what I was saying. But anyway, this show also tried to throw some romance into the mix at times with Shinichi's love interest that is always trying to figure out why he's all over the place, because of course he can't tell her what his life is really like behind the scenes. This fails miserably because she ends up being a character more in the way when he's trying to handle business, more than a tug at your emotional strings, or at least my emotional strings. They tried though. I know it sounds like I'm overly criticizing this, but no, I do recommend this. It's very entertaining. It just has flaws with its storytelling. The writing became blatantly weak, as if there wasn't a genuine care anymore for things to be organized and make sense. All of a sudden it goes from being a fairly paced story surrounding Shinichi trying to protect himself and his community from whenever these parasites pop up, to you blinking an eye and all of a sudden the government steps in and now it's a free-for-all murder. And a final episode that was pretty unnecessary if you ask me. The art style is nothing out the ordinary, your average modern day Japan setting with generic looking high school characters. The animation on the other hand was very solid, very fluid, and stands up 6 to 7 years later. Madhouse did their thing on this. It wasn't bad, and if you missed it, you got the green light from animebackwhen to check out. Like the video, comment down below what y'all want to see next. I'm out. Thanks for watching. Animebackwhen.